Welcome to the Krakow.
A fine place indeed. Now take a chariot ride with me around City Square as we talk about why traveling abroad, more specifically completely by yourself, is one of the best things you can possibly do for yourself in your life. Let's jump in. All right, riding dirty in the city center here. Imagine with me for a second that when you wake up in the morning that you could put on a pair of glasses that not only would allow you to see things that most other people can't see or in a different perspective, but also have a jolt of confidence that stays with you throughout the day. Because traveling abroad, and more specifically by yourself, allows you both of these things. And in addition to this, it's a blast and it makes you feel more alive than you've ever been before. So just to start it off, what traveling abroad does, the first thing, is it grants you perspective. So let's say you're from a specific town, say you're from the Midwest in the United States, and you've grown up being around and surrounded by these cultures and these mindsets and these beliefs that everybody seems to kind of share together. Well, you've never been able to see how those stack against other cultures and mindsets because it's all you've been exposed to. We accept what we see around us. So when you go out into other cultures and other countries, you're able to, like Miyagi-Do, prune the bonsai tree down to a perspective that fits you. You know, very likely every single belief and perspective that you were exposed to as a kid is not something that if you sat down and saw all the other perspectives would necessarily resonate with. You're able to really take the best of all the different cultures that you see and wrap them all up in your perspective. And the reason that's cool is because you can be more confident than in your perspective because you're not like, oh shit, were there some perspectives that I wasn't exposed to that maybe would have raised me? No, I think the one I grew up with is pretty good. Well, that's not confidence. Confidence is going around seeing all perspectives and knowing that the one that you decided on, the one that you checked out, the one that you handpicked is the one you want. Let me give you just a real easy example. When I studied abroad in Australia, this was probably 10, 15 years ago, there was a term that everyone would say, like, don't worry about it, no big deal. They'd say, oh, no worries. And you probably hear it now because over the last 5 years, probably even a little bit more, it's become very popular and everyone uses it now. But when I came back, I liked that and I started using it. Another example may be in the culture after dinner, typically people drink a little spot of port wine and you like that, you bring it back. You bring that into your culture. That's your own little personal culture. Now you do it wherever you live. Maybe you're 17 years old and you were in Germany and the drinking age is 16. Well, you get back to the United States, you tell the cop, listen, I'm just celebrating a German culture. No, clearly that's a joke. You don't do that. But that's a great example of different ways that you can handpick things that really resonate with you to come up with your own culture, your own morals, your own ideas of life and the way things work that wasn't just handed to you or forced down your throat. You handpicked it, you chose it, so you can be really rock solid and confident in it. Now let's talk about confidence. The confidence that can only be gained by being thrown in very uncomfortable situations where you can't anticipate different things being thrown at you, and you gotta think on your feet. You gotta work your way out of things. You got no choice. You have to do it. By being able to be thrown in the deep end like that and realize that you can come out on top or still alive, it instills a lot of confidence. You're naturally going to be exposed to a lot of social pressure, but you're exposed to these things, and like a diamond is hardened. You hear this all the time, but when it comes to social pressure and being in these situations, it really does harden you. So when you get back home, the social pressure that you're used to being exposed to is nothing. You're like, I've been in a rickshaw with thousands of people staring at me while I'm recording a vlog. Now sitting up and participating in a meeting means nothing. Kind of a goofy example, but I think you get what I'm saying. Now, sometimes people ask, all the TV shows, Anthony Bourdain goes to all these different crazy places. I can just kind of sit there and watch him. Those are great shows. I love the Anthony Bourdain show. But truly it exposes you to about 10% of the culture and 10% of the learning that takes place by actually being, eating, navigating, talking to people, walking around, seeing sights, visiting museums, talking to people. Did I say talking to people? By going yourself. So don't think just because you can watch with these super high definition cameras Bourdain travel around that you don't need to do it yourself. Don't think you've already seen it. It's nothing like that. It can be good before or after, just to pick out little things that you maybe didn't notice or something that you see, you're like, dude, that was incredible. I can't believe I was right there where he was. That's cool. But don't ever think that with this kind of spectator society that we've been now kind of getting used to, as TV gets better. And I always think about when virtual reality comes around, is anyone ever going to need to go anywhere? Because you get dopes like me that travel around and record everything and you feel like you're actually there. There's no mistake for the growth and development that you get from actually going somewhere, that confidence, that rock solid, that diamond that comes from the pressure. And lastly, you've got the incredible stories. Why is the world's most interesting man called the world's most interesting man? He's got unbelievable stories. Whether you stay at a hostel with a bunch of people or a really fancy, highfalutin hotel, it doesn't matter. You know, when people tell stories, typically, when's the last time you heard a story that you were like, oh man, he started it off, I gotta hear this, I'm really excited? 1 out of 10, 1 out of 20. How about when you start a story, I got dropped in Budapest without any cell service, no hotel, and 2 things of luggage. I had to walk 3 miles with no idea where I was going. Is that a story you want to hear versus some other story that makes no sense or is not interesting whatsoever? Of course it is. The stories are amazing. Now, let me tell you something. Well, obviously in the experiences that come with stories for yourself too, but it never hurts to have a good one in the hopper. Now, I know there's people who never leave their small town that they grew up in and never want to. They don't even have a desire to, and that's totally cool. I'm not saying this is for everybody, but if you even have any inkling whatsoever that you want to travel, you gotta do it while you can. Because so many people I've talked to, they get older, they start having a family, and they're like, oh God, I wish I always wanted to go to Paris, but now I'll never be able to. Well, the sad thing is, until you get old and your kids leave, you probably won't be able to, and even at that case, if you never traveled abroad, you probably won't start at that point. You never know if your health is going to be in check. You never know if the geopolitical situations are going to allow for it. You know, at the time of this recording, Cuba finally just opened up its borders for U.S. citizens to travel and check it out. Yeah, you don't even know if you're going to be alive by the time that you want to do this, if your job's going to give you time. So if you have the feeling that you want to do it, you got to do it. Now is the time. So glad to have you on board. Leave me a comment below. Let me know if there's anything specifically you want to see. Like I said, I'm here in Krakow, Poland, a short shot from Prague. I think I'm heading down to Budapest next, but let me know any questions you have about the places I've been, where I'm going, or anything of the sort. I'll see you next week.
Let me ask you, are you truly satisfied and happy with your social skills right now, where you're at? Are you excited to go to social events because you know you can do well and enjoy yourself? Because if you're not, click here to the left and we can talk more about some products that I have that can help you get to where you need to be so you can really enjoy the weekends when they come around and not feel obligated to go to social events, but rather enjoy them knowing that you'll perform well, you'll make friends, and have a good old time. Now, if you're a single guy and you don't feel confident that basically any weekend that you can get a date with your kind, your quality of woman, then you're not taking advantage of all the tools and things that we have at our fingertips nowadays. So you can click here and look at the products that I have to help you get your skills and your abilities and your comfort with women up to where they need to be.